Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
Depression is no way to get through a basketball season, but the Suns have put their fan base on the worst level of purgatory. They have no present and no future. They are no better than a lottery team, except they have no draft picks. And there's the sobering realization that after dealing with the miserly maneuvers of the previous owner, we were doomed by the current owner's willingness to write really big checks. Now, isn't that just our luck? There are course corrections needed, of course, starting at the very top. One unnamed NBA exec said the Suns need to stop chasing all-stars and start focusing on singles and doubles, that Matt Ishbia needs to let the basketball people do their jobs. His intentions were great, but he is indeed guilty of new owner syndrome. Trading Kevin Durant, also a necessity, and I believe it's time to trade Devin Booker as well. Here's why. He's eligible for a 3-year, $212 million extension, and he is simply not worth $70 million a season. Now, there was a time when Book was a real killer, a time when he was better than Donovan Mitchell. Neither is longer the case. And in my darkest moods, I fear the arrival of KD has had a terrible chilling effect on our hometown hero. Either way, the Suns are about to enter a gnarly stretch of schedule, and the forecast for zombie basketball is very high. In other words, it's going to get worse before it gets better. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW, who make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
Depression is no way to go through a basketball
No,
season.
it isn't. It really, really isn't, Vinny. And I got a lot of it. I don't know about you, but pulling back the curtain, I actually now begin to dread watching these Suns games.
I mean, certainly, I can't say it's appointment viewing. And appointment viewing is something you look forward to.
Yes,
it's obligation viewing now.
Disappointment viewing.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Kind of like the last couple seasons of Entourage.
Yes, right. and it's weird because Bradley Beal being put back in the starting lineup, he's been fantastic the last couple of games.
Yes.
But there's no covering up where this team is really, really bad, and defensively they are so bad in so many ways. There is just no chance of this team getting elevation. Whether it's defending the perimeter, whether it's closing out on shooters, their transition defense might be the worst I've ever seen in my life.
It's it's not great.
And then there's the rebounding, all of that stuff. So I mean, we can sit here and beat that dead horse and all that kind of stuff, or we need to look at real solutions. The Devin Booker piece, I think, is the real heaviest piece. Now, I don't want Devin Booker. I don't want him gone, but I want the old Devin Booker back. And he had a good offensive game yesterday, but he's just not the same guy he was. And there's a lot of people I talk to, and I'm just being real here. There's a lot of people I talk to who say the exact same thing, that KD has had a bad effect on Devin Booker. The chill vibe of Kevin Durant has brought down Devin Booker's temperature, and it's noticeable in just the way he talks and conducts himself. Okay? I said it. And I don't want to believe it, but I don't know what else to believe at this point in time. I really believe that a huge reset is necessary, but at the same time, I know what the fan base is going to react. The fan base, if you give this fan base a future that says, okay, you know what? We got to trade KD because we have to, and I'm sorry, but we've got to trade Devin Booker because we've got to get even more pieces. So you're left with Bradley Beal. Congratulations.
Well,
I don't think that'd be received very well.
No, it wouldn't, but it all would. That, to me, is where it gets murky, looking into the future. And Bradley Beal's no-trade clause is a thing. He's not going to waive it unless it's a perfect situation for he and his family to pursue that. But does he become more agreeable to waive it if he is the last guy left on the boat? If Kevin Durant is gone, if Devin Booker is gone, I'm like you. I don't want Devin Booker to go. I don't think Devin Booker has any shred of interest in leaving Phoenix, quite honestly. Mm-hmm. He's been through the bad times, but he is just in the community so important. Mm-hmm. That would be, and we talked to Jerry Colangelo last week during Newsmakers Week about pulling the trigger on big trades, which he did a lot during his time as an executive, and executives underneath him when he was the owner of the Suns. It happened a lot in this franchise's history. Trades that at the time you're like, I can't believe you traded so-and-so. That would be one of those trades. But Jerry also talked about removing the emotion from it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were great at that. That would be arguably the most emotional trade in Suns history.
Yeah.
If the Suns have to go down that road to improve their team, to knock it down to the studs, as everybody is saying, and start a rebuild. But you also asked a very key question, too. We don't know if that's going to be the stance. The Suns have been very stubborn in that they're a playoff team. I wonder if that stance changes as they continue to fall further and further behind 500 at this point of the season. But who is the architect of the rebuild?
That's it. That's it.
And is that where we expect big changes this year? Do they go down that road before they tweak the roster? I mean, if they were to do that and make changes in basketball operations and who is making the decisions, who's got the power to make the decisions in that whole mix, unless they're willing to tear down the roster, there's not flexibility for anybody. I mean, you can get Jerry West at the height of his game or Red Auerbach at the height of his game, but the restrictions on this team are so great.
As currently stated,
What can you do?
Yeah, no, listen, and as far as Bradley Beal goes, Bradley Beal never once asked out of D.C., so if he was happy on that Wizards team, I don't think Bradley Beal is going to want to move, no matter even if you do tear it down to the studs. In fact, during the game yesterday, it almost felt like a way like they were trying to personalize Bradley Beal because they know he's going to be part of the future, and they kind of referenced a clip that went viral of Bradley Beal's young son, Deuce, Bradley Beal II, scoring a flag football touchdown. And Brad was real proud of it because apparently I think the kid's 6 or 5 and he's playing with 8-year-olds.
8 and 9-year-olds,
yeah. That's right. So there's so Bradley Beal might have a Heisman Trophy candidate on his hands. This is all going to be very, very difficult stuff for this fan base to swallow, given how close we were at one point in time, and just given the general up and down mood swings of the fan base. It's going to be a tough thing to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see that there's a growing people who want to blame the majority of problems and issues on Mike Budenholzer, because I think that I'm fairly certain from what I can tell and what I hear that not all the players have received him very well. Do you know how embarrassing it would be for this franchise to plow through another head coach, to go one and done with another head coach? Do you know how amateurish they would look? Do you know how hard it would be to hire somebody again?
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying. Four coaches in 4 years is never a recipe for success, regardless of the sport or the organization.
Got to be nearly unprecedented.
But if it's, a complete cleaning of house,
then maybe it's
the
different.
Basketball operations people are shown the door as well, then it's an easier sell. But I mean, I can already hear the talking heads.
Oh yeah.
And we love Charles Barkley. He comes on he gives us a shout out on TNT for goodness sake. But I can already hear him saying, "They threw Mike Budenholzer under the bus, just like they did with Frank Vogel, just like they did with Monty Williams."
Then they backed it up and ran over him again.
That's good. That's really good. Really good Charles Barkley, Vinny.
Yeah, but, I mean, we talked about the emotion of all of it. Mm-hmm. For me, I was actually kind of proud of myself over the weekend because I'm apt to buy into the shred of optimism. Mm-hmm. For me, the roller coaster ride is over until this team shows a sustained pulse.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about like winning 10 games in a row. Yeah. And climbing back into a play-in spot or beyond.
Oh, if they do that, they can win me back.
But if you do it from game to game, like, the struggle at the end to beat Chicago, okay, good win on the road. And you got some key buckets from some good players.
Yeah.
But to follow it up with what we saw yesterday, you led for 38 seconds on the road against the Toronto Raptors when you're fully healthy.
You had that at a 2-point game with 5 minutes to play, and you lose by 18 points. My goodness.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.